And if you have any links, Robert, get them ready to put in the chat. So oh, here we go. We're live.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are live on the Ripple Effect, and Erika and I are excited to bring you a special guest, Robert. I don't want to butcher your last name there, Robert. How are you doing today? Do you mind pronouncing your name for us?
It's Robert Porath. Yeah. How are you?
Okay.
Yeah, everything's great today. Thank you for having me on.
Good. And Erika, how are you today?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited for getting to introduce everyone to Nurse Robert Porath in a few moments. And Robert is a longtime colleague of mine. So we are on the Ripple Effect right now. This is David Kirsten's Wide Angle Media Ripple Effect show that I co-host. And we usually have either we're rapping or we have guest speakers rap, rap is a colloquialism. We rap about the little things that can ripple effect into bigger things, whether they're health improvements or life improvements. That's what we're all about. And so it's so fun to have you on, Sir Robert. And I so appreciate you, David Kirsten. And did you want to give us a download about the things that you're percolating and creating before we get on with Sir Robert here?
Yeah, sure. I did want to check into the world of Erika de America as well. So we were actually both in the Lyft platform doing some business development, and we were talking about last quarter and what we'd like to see for this quarter. And I'm actually preparing to launch a new kind of workshop aimed at kind of getting people's self-image in line to go up on video. So it really combines kind of self-image work with the skills to do DIY video. So, for example, starting podcasts but really the fundamentals of how to get up on video effectively. And you don't even need me, so to speak. You can do some of this stuff on your own. So it's really, I think, the fundamentals of what has helped, what I've learned about preparing my guests and clients to be effective on video. So I look forward to that. I look forward to your input too, Erika. And, one of my ideal clients is speakers. So, as a speaker, I really kind of try to tailor things for your needs. And we also have an event coming up in mid-May, I think on the 18th, that I'm going to let you know about too. With Katarina is going to speak at, and Corey Knott. So that's going to be here. It's May 18th here at Quantum Leap event. So yeah, nice. So that's the newest from me. And tell us about some of your events coming up, Erika. I know you have. You said you moved a workshop to Friday that you were doing.
Let me tell you. How about I'll tell you, and then I'll tell you that I told you. So I've been teaching a lot of different cool things under the umbrella of healing, self-care, and creativity. And I have my ongoing Crouching Tiger Hidden Artist Group. We have 3 more meetings, and we've been working our way through the beloved 25, 30-year-old book, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And that's what Crouching Tiger Hidden Artist is really about, is moving through that Artist's Way book and some other creativity tools for getting yourself going in terms of igniting your creator. So that's ongoing on Wednesday evenings. And then on Friday, I have my intrinsic movement tune-up. So if you've never done it, you can show up and you'll get all acclimated. You'll get to do it with me and my little posse of people. And this is about a healing movement protocol that I love to share and practice with people. Sometimes we have live musicians on, such as Hassan Bakar. Sometimes it's just ourselves with a music playlist that you can play on your own. And then what I'm cooking up for April is healing massage in a pandemic workshops. So whether you are a caregiver or you are someone who is just really needing to have some kind of massage, or you need to know how to work through a repetitive stress injury protocol, I am here to share it. And we're going to have a first four-part series for that. And You can check out my website. All the details will be on there, erikagimbel.com. And I'm so happy to get to introduce my friend, Robert. I've known almost, what, 9 years, 8 years now?
Yeah, it's almost 10 years, right?
Oh
We're
my
coming
goodness.
up on our 10-year anniversary.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, we have to celebrate with some Puerto Rico, Robert. We play this game called Puerto Rico, and I'm addicted, and
Erika's addicted. Yeah.
I'm looking
Good.
for my next fix of this game. And only a few people have had the pleasure of playing Puerto Rico, but it is a very serious, amazing strategy board game. And I have inducted Robert into playing this game. It's very cool. And Robert and I know each other from our Healthy Living Revolution community. And Robert is in San Francisco, and he is doing a lot of work with people with disabilities right now and terminal ill people. Is that correct?
Yes, hospice and palliative care. Mhm.
Yes, and he has formerly been involved with oncological surgical humans going through cancer treatments. And Robert, I can't wait for you to share a little bit about your healing protocol, and to share a little download with us about it, and maybe how people can learn about it from you directly, or take one, get to have a session with you. So take it away, Robert. Give it to us all about yourself and your rest technique.
Well, thank you, Erika. So yes, so I've been a nurse for over about 20 years and working in the surgical oncology arena in different areas of the healthcare continuum. And most recently, I'm really trying to. I'm not more than just trying to, but I'm embracing my more holistic and integrative side that kind of balances the artist as well as the scientist, right? And so instead of keeping them a little more separate, it's like, why not put them together a little bit more? And so what I'm really doing is I'm exploring another modality. It's a therapeutic technique called rest. And what I help people do is I help shine a light on some of those darker areas of your life that you may not have been paying much attention to because it's in your blind spot. You weren't able to see it. So rest really helps you shine a light on some of those concerns that may have been buried away for a little bit. We might want to call them micro traumas. And then, you and I go through a step-by-step process, and we kind of work through some of those concerns, and we put them to rest. So essentially, sometimes it might seem like if, here's something that's common, triggers people, is the toilet seat, right? The toilet seat's a common trigger for many different people for many different reasons. For some people, it doesn't bother them at all, but some people it's like, right? So taking on the challenge of the toilet seat, it's like, let's talk about what triggers you, and we'll look at some of the areas surrounding it, and it involves emotions. And then we kind of like work through some of the emotions and put them to rest.
Yes, and I
So
know a little bit about this protocol from you, and I've had some sessions with you, Nurse Robert, and I've had some just a class I got to take with the person who created this. And this is a neurocognitive tool, so it really talks to your brain. Is that correct, Robert?
It does. It's actually, yeah, it's a conversation between our subconscious minds together, and it kind of brings some of those things up to the surface so they can be more verbally addressed.
And then, just like your background, you can vacuum up what you don't want, and
that's
then
it. And just take it away, take it out, right?
Out of there.
Take it out.
There.
Then you have a nice, clear space to work with.
Excellent. So
yeah.
For somebody who's just tuning in, what is this? What is rest? Is there a place where people can go to talk to you, Robert, and reach out to you and ask you questions?
Yes, I actually have I have an Acuity link. It's called Rest with Robert. And you can just contact me directly, or I also take referrals from Erika Gimbel.
Yeah, and so people who've had different kinds of levels of persnickety things that it's not kind of getting worked out with their coach or their therapist, having a session with Robert or 2 or 3 can really help those persnickety things that just need to be addressed in a way that's not going so well in usual. And usual is kind of funny because I'm not a usual therapist, but I'm a somatic therapist. But those things that just kind of keep nagging and nagging, and it's not quite hypnotherapy, your protocol, and it's not hypnosis. But however, it's talking to those parts of the brain that are chewing on something that's not. There's stuckness. Is that correct?
Yeah, it helps you acknowledge some of those things that are your sticking points, right? And the therapeutic technique actually works really well when you're working with a professional therapist on different levels. So for instance, if I had a client, Michelle, right? And Michelle was like, oh yeah, I'm working through this process. It's like, well, if you haven't thought about seeing another therapist, right? Seeing a psychotherapist may be able to help bridge that gap, right? So we can look at the modality from 2 different angles and really get the best, benefit for the client.
I love that. And not to put you on the spot, Robert, but however, wouldn't it be fun to put David on the hot seat and do a little R rest with him in 15 minutes or less, if he's open for that? Because I certainly love putting David on the hot seat in other meetings where we're talking about his healthy lifestyle shifts and other things like that. And David, you're such a wonderful guinea pig for, in the best sense of the word, in the most respectful sense of the word, you're such a wonderful yes person to try stuff out with. So if you're open, and Robert, if you're open, it would be fun to see how this could actually work with you. And you have never before had this R rest experience. You don't know really anything about it other than what we're sharing with you, right?
Yeah, no, that movie comes to mind with the chimpanzees when they're exposed to radiation, but I don't think we're getting into any of that. I'm okay with a Zoom demo, so yeah, I haven't been exposed to that.
Yeah, and so David seems willing. Now, Robert, could you imagine something that might be able to be experientialized in this little bit of time, in about 15 minutes or less, that we could experiment?
We could probably fit in a discovery session, but the actual process we'd have to do at another time. Yeah, since we're so short on time.
Yeah, maybe he could just describe the process of what it's like working with him, and then what some of the common problems that people might come to him for to solve, and some of the results that he's brought them.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
in
And
a nutshell.
Robert, that's a great idea, David. And the other idea is just if anybody's tuning in right now, what is something that they can do right now from listening in that could be helping to bring down activations and, just all in service of people having more ease and less suffering. That's what I'm all about. So Robert, does that give you some ideas of something?
Yeah, we could definitely do a little discovery session.
Cool. I'm so game. I'm so game.
So, and here's something. So Erika and I, would you happen to have a 5-minute meditation you could walk us through?
Definitely.
Yeah. So, if you're open to it, why don't you do a 5-minute relaxation meditation, and then we'll start the discovery process.
Okay, and we'll keep it real short, my part, so we can get into your part if you're open to that. So everybody who is tuning in, hopefully you're not driving. If you're driving, please focus on the road, and we won't pay your speeding tickets if you're doing this while you're driving. So everybody take some nice deep breaths. And if you're in a safe place to do so, just sit back in your chair, or if you're on the floor, just lie on the floor and feel your body underneath you. And it's like you're turning your attention inside to this thing called your body and your breath. So at the very least, you're watching your breath go in and out at your own pace. And it can be very slow, your breath, or it can be, just follow it, whatever it's doing, it's all okay. And if this is new to you, there's a lot to look at. So just to notice the inhale, whether you're breathing through your nose or your mouth, just bring your attention to that process of inhalation and exhalation. This can be a very easy for some, or really radical for others who are just haven't been used to this kind of mindfulness, and just paying attention to right now and whatever those movements are that are happening with the breath and whatever sounds you're hearing. Just kind of take in the whole experience right now and watch that occur. Can be very helpful for slowing down. So as I do this myself, and I'm also partially telling you some things, I am noticing my tush on the chair. I'm noticing there's some tension in my jaw. So I'm like just watching that and relaxing my jaw. And then I'm going back to my breathing, which is doing its thing. And this can be a wonderful discovery place where you can just hang out here 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. It can be a wonderful restart in the middle of your day, or when you're noticing you're having a little slumpo. So just hang out here another minute more with me. And there may be thoughts, there may be feelings, there may be sensations. Just notice them, and then you send them down the river, whatever that is, coming back to your breath. All right.
Thank you. That was very nice. Yeah, and it's a nice reset during our day.
I felt like I just took a nap.
Good.
It's good to see you work, Erika. I appreciate it. For whatever reason, it's impossible for me to do that thing on my own without somebody taking me through it. So I appreciate it.
Good. Well, we'll create some recordings for you so you can take us with you. So Robert, what are you going to do now?
So, what we can do is we can either do it together, we can do it separately. So what I'll do is I'll talk to David, just as we're doing an introductory rest discovery session. And so David, since you're up for a little, exploration challenge, this is what we're doing today. We're exploring some areas. Let me, share with me like some of your goals in your life, and different areas of your life that you have goals, right? And these can be small goals, bigger goals, little baby steps. But what are some of the goals that you're working in your life? And these are questions we can just think about as we're pondering this. What are some of the goals that you're working on? And it's great if you have a piece of paper. Everything's better when you write it down, right? What are some of the goals that you're working on? And if we were to work together, right? What would you like to accomplish in some of these areas of your life? Right? What are those those BHAGs, those big, hairy, audacious goals? And what would you like to accomplish with them? And how would you know, once you've reached those goals, how would you know that your work on this issue or this goal is complete? How would you feel when it's complete? And or how would you know that you've achieved or gotten the results that you want?
So that's a lot to lay on a guy. And, you know,
That's a lot. So a lot of this discovery session, right, for everyone is that I bring it up beforehand, right? It's a little bit of like lay the ground homework. We kind of like smooth in there. And so when we actually have our phone session, right, we have a little bit of some massaging of those goals to do. We have talk about one area of your life. So for instance, if it were a health and wellness goal, right? A financial goal, right? These are all the different goals we can talk about. If it's a relationship goal, right? If it's if an internal, external stressor goal, right? So if you were seeing a client and they're like, I'm really anxious when I, have to go to the doctor, right? Or I get really anxious when I have to go to the dentist.
So what do you think, David?
Yeah,
You got something?
I'd say, I've been on this path, so I actually have these goals, and I appreciate the clarity that he put that in. And I mean, my two top goals that I focused on, I have some kind of peripheral goals are really related to my health and fitness, to get down to lose about 40 or 50 pounds, so to speak, and be on my health and fitness track. Then my other goal is my business goal is to build a video production or video marketing company that generates $1 million plus in revenue a year. So those are my audacious goals, so to speak. And I think there's other things that have kind of come up during the pandemic that I see how to really manage both the personal and the business. So I have she's turning 6 on Saturday. I need to not only do my business, but be able to care for her and do her schoolwork. So this kind of seamless integration of personal and business life is equally important to those other goals. And, I realize some of the things that I need to do. So these are kind of the smaller goals. Is when I drink less coffee and less caffeine, it enables me to do this better and, kind of be more methodic. So that's kind of in a nutshell what those are. And I do try to do this exercise in the mornings where I feel those goals achieved. And it's often hard for me to do on my own. I do like that idea of having some tapes or something of to get into that state, because how do you connect with that goal when I just have this resistance to being able to go there?
Mm-hmm. So you really enjoyed the guided meditation exercise where someone can walk you through some of the process to help you get more centered?
Yeah.
You really like to start your day like that?
Yeah, I like that. I always try to do it on my own, and then I often listen to my tapes of Bob Proctor and some other folks that I listen to kind of get me charged up for the day, so to speak. And
Mm-hmm. And so if you wanted to talk about your goals of health and wellness, your business goal, or some of these other peripheral goals regarding a significant project in your life, 6 years old is better.
Yeah, say that last part again. I was just getting a little feedback.
Just that, you said you had someone in your life who was 6 years old?
Yeah, so my daughter Carrie, recently went back to school in person, but we realized how behind she's gotten in kindergarten from the remote learning, which has been challenging. So she needs to learn, 60 snap words and how to write these words. And, so we don't have that much of the school year left. And I need to teach her a lot of that stuff, basically homeschool her. So.
Got it. So, just with the pandemic, there's a lot of things that people are walking through and experiencing. And so education and the group about remote learning, right, is a really big piece of that, right? And as a society, we're all stumbling through that. So that's another goal, right? So these are all 3 areas of your life that you may have micro goals all in, right? And so if you wanted to talk about one of these today, which one of those areas would be your priority goal to center on?
For me, it's my business really, just because when I have more, the better I do with my business, the more peace of mind that brings me, and that allows me to achieve the other two goals. So, really my business goal and what I've been kind of putting out to my referral networks is some nuts and bolts of how I want to get to that goal, so to speak, or down the path, that goal might take me several years to reach. But, for example, this year I'm looking for one major client that'll, pay me like 5,000 to 7,000 a month to run a video program for them. And that's similar to the work that I used to do in politics, but just for the private sector. So that's kind of my tangible goal that I'm looking at right now.
Excellent, excellent. And so that's how we begin. That's how the discovery process begins. And so, we kind of have a brief conversation. We look at some of the major focus areas of your life, and then we kind of drill down and, find the priority for you in the moment. And then we kind of work on that in the moment. So that's where the other part of the process begins. And it's more of a trickle down effect. There you go. Yeah. And then, once we identify that second or that major area of those goals, then we focus in more on what are some of those sticking points, or what are some of those stumbling blocks that you're having to make that goal, cemented, to make that, $1 million goal happen. Right. And you've already broken it down. You're just I want to get that client that's going to give me the $5,000 a month doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So that's how the process starts.
What I love about Robert and the way he works with people, David, is you're so easy to work with. Also, David's also really easy to work with as a videographer, and you're so lovely and easy to work with as a practitioner of this rest. And also your way, you have such a beautiful sense of humor and a lightness. Even if you're talking about hard things or intense things, you're bringing your kindness and your care to the work. So it really is easy to be putting yourself in front of Robert to get support. So I love that about you and your work. I was wondering, Robert, as we're kind of getting ready to close up this session, do you want to show any of the things that are the things, or not today?
Well, not today, but part of it is part of the RRS process is really to do this interview and really have a relationship with the client. And we can do, I like to do it, of course, in person, right? That's always better in person. Right. But in the before times, as we say, right? But in now we can do a virtual meeting and a virtual session, and it works just as well, if not better, right?
And how has this shifted your work as a health professional? What are you seeing with adding this into your work with your clients and your patients? What are you noticing?
Primarily I wanted to do this work because working as a palliative care and hospice nurse, I have a lot of loss sometimes. And that can be emotionally traumatic, right? Because the loss is a professional loss, but it also affects the losses that you've had personally, right? So I really want to help take some of that fear and that grief and that loss and sadness and all those other emotions that are really kind of based in your root chakra, right? This is very much an energetic form of work as well. We kind of put those emotions to rest, right? So they're not so bothersome, but we can address them in a very articulate manner, but they don't make you cry all the time, right? When we talk about
beautiful.
Yeah,
I have really enjoyed our rest sessions, and I like how it kind of works on you in a positive way after the sessions are over. I know also our friend Harold enjoyed his sessions with the rest. So it's a very powerful, gentle tool. And yeah, I hope people get curious and reach out to you to ask you more questions and hopefully work with you, because it's beautiful what you're creating, and the shift that happens, it's profound. So give yourself that beautiful gift.
And the pat on the back, right? Everyone gets a pat on the back today.
I get a, yes,
Perfect.
I get pats on the back. Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, no, I would say well done. I can just tell by how you ask the questions and frame those issues that you know you're a true professional. And I think what you get at is a lot of what kind of business coaches and some other fields do. But I like your kind of holistic approach of looking at it. And I think there's nothing more important right now than kind of peace of mind and getting over this stuckness that we feel that a lot the pandemics created a lot of issues for a lot of people in a lot of areas. So to actually get some clarity on those, I think, Robert, I can just see in the short time that we've seen you work, how impactful your process can be. And that was it William James, I think, said calmness of mind is the jewel of wisdom. And I think you really help bring me some clarity. And I do like this focus on healing and self-care that you guys preach, that I think so much of us, for example, before this last weekend, I felt like I was getting really run down, and we can't be on our goals if we don't kind of take care of ourselves with healing and self-care. And I think, to get that clarity, kind of cut out the other noise can be hugely impactful for, both our personal and business lives. So that was well put. And I know we are about at time, but I'll let you guys make some closing comments if you haven't.
Robert, I love that we get to be comrades in this, and I'd love to refer clients to you to have this experience with our rest, because I'm certainly not qualified to impart that to people. And the little bit that I've gotten to experience has been very profound and powerful and positive, all those P words. So definitely thinking of you for how we can work together. And so happy to have you on here. You have any closing remarks for our ripple effect today?
Well, I want to thank you both, David and Erika, for having me on. It's been great. I'm glad we could schedule the time in today. And I would love to work with you and do some cross referral with some clients, right? And of course, David, you can always just send me a little message, and we can work on some of those goals, and you can experience a little taste of rest for yourself.
Sounds good. Well, and please do come back and see us on the ripple effect. We can talk about having you back as well. So very, a great segment for the short time that we did have. And thanks everyone for tuning into the ripple effect. Thanks a lot, Robert, for coming on. We will put the links to you and your work in the chat box, or how to get a hold of you, your website, or whatever links you want us to share. And we'll see everybody next week.
All right.